In this video, we're going to show you everything we pack to travel carry-on only for full-time travel. Hey guys, welcome back to our channel. We're just finishing up our time here in Ireland. If you haven't seen those videos yet, we'll link one up there, but you can go head to our channel and have a look at those. But we thought it was the perfect time after just under 3 months traveling full-time to show you what we packed to travel carry-on only, particularly through Europe. Now, we've each traveled with 2 bags. We've gone a small suitcase and a backpack, so we'll show you what we packed in each, and we'll also run you through some of the things that we might not have packed if we had our time again, or some things we wish we had have packed. So stay tuned as we run you through everything. Okay, first up I'll run you through our 2 backpacks. Now in terms of picking backpacks, we already had this backpack. This is just our camera bag, and we thought that's probably best. We didn't want to just throw our camera equipment into any old bag because we can't afford to replace it. So we already had this bag. It's been on a number of trips with us. In terms of this bag, this was kind of the critical one. We really wanted a bag, or a personal item as airlines call them, that would be big enough that it's practical and we can have the extra space. But we also didn't want it to be so big that it drew a lot of attention at the airport, because obviously we've already got our suitcases as well. So we picked this one up. It's just a Samsonite bag. I personally really love it. I'd say it's probably borderline on that kind of too big. It fits a lot of stuff in there, so when it is full it does look quite big, but it is within airline regulations in terms of size and things like that, and we've had no problem fitting it under the seat in front of us on the plane. So maybe I'll run through this one first. So like I said, this is kind of our main bag that we use for storage. The other one is mostly just for camera equipment. We opted for a bag that had a few different pockets so we could actually store some stuff in here, but it was also very important to us that it had a dedicated laptop sleeve, because obviously we are carrying our laptop and we want to protect that as well, and we don't want to just shove it in with everything. So this bag does have 3 main compartments. So this one is the laptop compartment, and then 2 storage compartments. It's got the zip pockets on the side, and it's also got the little loop that allows it to go sit on your suitcase nice and secure, which was also something that we really wanted and has been a lifesaver, let me tell you. There's also this small pocket just on top here, which is quite small, but we have shoved a few bits and bobs in there as well. You've got to use all the space you've got. Let's have a look inside. Let's start with the laptop case. So inside this pocket we have a laptop sleeve, another sleeve for like a tablet, and then there is a bit of extra room. We just brought 1 laptop between us, which was a bit of a mistake. If we had our time again, we would have brought 2 laptops. Obviously, use it for editing, use it for trip planning, editing shorts and reels, as well as our main videos, updating our budget. So really this is kind of our lifeline while we travel. And like I said, it would have been a lot easier if we had 2. Then we've got, in our tablet sleeve, we've got Rosh's iPad and my iPad, which has seen better days. iPads, you might think, if you've got laptops, why do you need iPads? I use my iPad literally every single day. For me, this is what if I watch things, I watch it on my iPad and things like that. Rosh is the same. She uses her iPad to watch things, so when we have long journeys. Benefit of the iPad is being able to download everything onto this, super easy, and it's just pretty practical. And I mean, they don't take up a lot of space and they're not super heavy, so that's worked for us. Next pocket. Now this is much bigger than the laptop pocket, but I'd say the front pocket is a bit roomier, but we still fit a lot of stuff in this pocket. Now something else I forgot to mention that we love about this backpack is that it's made from all recycled material. Really good, and it feels super sturdy. We've put so much stuff in here, I've made it so heavy, and it's done great, so highly recommend. Now in this second pocket we have our liquids bag. Obviously when we're going on the plane and we have to pull out our liquids, it's a lot easier for them to be in our backpack, so we can pull them out. We just have them in a Ziploc, which is within the regulations. And inside our liquids bag, it's kind of gone through a bit of a transformation, but essentially we have 4 of these little travel bottles that have had various different liquids in them at some point in time. They've had shampoo, conditioner. We had a big bottle of sunscreen before our last flight, which obviously we couldn't take on board, so we emptied that into one of these small bottles. But they've been great. They've worked really well. We've got 4 of those. Got some hydrolate. I'm not sure why that's in the liquids bag. And some bug spray, which we bought when we were in Venice staying at the campgrounds. If you haven't seen that video, we'll link it up there. Okay, next up this bag, this is all our cords, all our chargers, phone charger, watch charger, camera charger, laptop charger, all shoved into here. Now this bag used to have a travel towel in it many years ago. We just found it as we were moving out of our house and we thought, you know what, that's the perfect thing just to shove all our cords in and keep them together. So now something worth mentioning in our cords bag would be our adapters. So we really wanted to get kind of a multi-country adapter so we're not carrying around a whole heap of different ones. So we bought these on Amazon and they've been incredible. We haven't had any issues at all. They work for many different countries. You just push out the country you want, like that, and you can also plug in all different types of countries as well. So they obviously have the power plug there, 3 USB slots and 1 USB-C. So we grabbed 2 of those because we've got a lot of camera gear to charge, our phones, watches, so that's worked out really well for us. I'd say the only issue we've had with these would be in some countries the plug isn't strong enough in the wall, so when we plug this in it kind of is already dropping, and then if we plug something big in, say like the laptop charger, it's too heavy and it pulls it out of the wall. But it's only happened a couple of times, but otherwise highly recommend. If you're interested in looking into these, there's a link in our description for all our gear through Amazon, and we'll put these in there for you. So also there's a little sleeve in this pocket as well, a whole bunch of different papers, copies of our passports, copies of our vaccination certificates, all kind of important stuff like that. We haven't had to use any of it yet, but it's always worth having copies of things like this on you, just in case. So they sit in there. And then there's just a few bits and pieces that have been shoved in here along the way. We've got our certificates from our pizza class in Naples. And then again, I've got a birthday card from Rosh's family, and then just a few other photocopies of things. And then last thing, now our backpack we kind of have, and same with our suitcases, particular ways we pack, everything has their spot, but sometimes things just get thrown in here at the last minute. So that's just my iron tablets been thrown in there. But otherwise, that is it for this pocket. Okay, third and final big pocket. This is probably the biggest of the pockets. And this pocket does have little pen holders and a few little sleeve pockets as well. First up, probably not an essential. I think if Rosh had her time again, she'd force me to leave this at home, but I have no regrets, is our Nintendo Switch. We just have the handheld portion of it. I brought this for all our long train rides and things like that to keep me entertained. If you don't know, Rosh is our editor. She does all the editing, absolutely smashes it out. I personally think she does an amazing job. But while she's spending hours and hours and hours editing, again, because we only do have one laptop, there's only so much I can do. So I do pick up the Switch sometimes. If you're obviously stuck on space, it's not an essential, but with this big backpack we did have the space for it. So I then have my bum bag. If you've watched our videos, you would have seen this in pretty much every single video. I've absolutely loved this. It's been great in Europe, particularly in places that are known for pickpocketing. Just having everything right there on my chest has been super helpful. When we do catch planes, I tend to pack it away because obviously if you've got 3 bags, it draws a bit of attention. But trains and buses, this stays on my chest. It's really good. We put obviously some money in there, AirPods, things like that we need easy access to. And when we are at airports and stuff, I usually keep the passports in here as well. I then have just my sunglasses and then a lot of pens. If you haven't seen our Singapore videos, I'll link our first one up here, but when we were at Singapore airport, they asked us to do a survey and he gave us 8 pens as a thank you, so we couldn't bring ourselves to throw them out, so we've got all those pens. Okay, so they are our 3 main pockets. So as you can see, heaps of space in here. If you did want to put packing cubes in here, it's perfect. We went on a road trip through Ireland recently as well. We left our suitcases behind and just took our backpacks, and this fit stuff for both of us for 3 days. We just love it. Now, in terms of the smaller pockets, this front one, just a little notebook. You never know when you might need it. And then some earplugs have been thrown in here as well, so not a lot in there. And then the side pocket, so we were a bit disappointed it didn't have drink bottle holders. However, these pockets have proven very handy. First up is our foldable grocery bag. Most places in the world don't give you grocery bags for free anymore. It's definitely a big thing in Australia, and we found it pretty consistent across Europe as well. Plus, we want to help the environment, so we have just this grocery bag we bought from home. So that's just that one. Folds up nice and small, it's pretty big. If we had our time again, we'd probably bring a second one. We've definitely got room for it, but we've made do. We've had some supermarkets give us a plastic bag, which we've then just carried with us for weeks and weeks and reused, but definitely must bring is definitely one grocery bag because it is very helpful. My eye mask, haven't had to use it a whole heap fortunately, but if you do stay in places that are too bright, eye mask is definitely helpful and always helpful on the plane as well. Now comes the part where it's just a bunch of random stuff that's been shoved in here. So we've got some tissues, our Madrid transport card, some band-aids and just some disinfectant wipes as well. And then lastly, just a little bottle of hand sanitizer. So last pocket on this backpack, again just a bunch of random stuff. We have some paracetamol, Rosh's eye mask, we have some locks. We brought these in case we stayed at hostels and ended up in shared rooms so we could lock our stuff away, but we've used them a little bit, particularly in Italy in spots that were highly known for pickpocketing. We just threw a lock on our backpack. Some people might say we're being paranoid, but for us, because we have the bum bags, we don't really access the backpack a lot, so we were fine to have a lock on it, but worth bringing, particularly if you do think you'll be staying in some hostels. We have an exercise band. We really haven't used this a whole bunch. I did bring it to do some exercises for an old injury, but some people do bring it to do some exercise on the road. We're not exactly staying in places with a gym, but it folds up nice and small anyways. And last but not least, this is just our waterproof backpack cover. Haven't used it a whole bunch except for Singapore where we used it almost every day, but it just goes over the top of the backpack and has been handy when we've needed it, but otherwise fits really well in this small compartment, which is good. We just have one of these. Generally when we're out and about, we just have one backpack on us, and like I said, we haven't really needed it fortunately when we've been on a travel day, so the one has worked out well.
Next backpack is our camera bag. Now, full disclosure, Stace is usually the one that packs the backpacks, so I'm gonna find out what's inside with you. Let's start off with the very front pocket. We have what is probably one of my most prized possessions, I think Stace would agree, our little hard drive. It's tiny, but man is it powerful. This is an SSD drive. I've had trouble in the past as I'm editing computer glitches, the program doesn't work, and I think it was because the hard drives weren't powerful enough, because switching to this SSD drive, we have not had any of those issues. It's a really durable one. It's called the Extreme Portable SSD. Apparently, I think it's waterproof, shockproof, all of that. But I'm just happy that it makes editing a little bit quicker. If you're curious about getting one of these yourself, that'll be in the link down below too. And then the rest of this little front pocket just has our lens wipes, which we probably should use more often than we do. If you watch our vlogs, you might agree with that. Occasionally we will have little spots on the lenses, so this is definitely a necessity. Next, into the middle pocket, we have a power bank, which is something you should definitely bring. My phone is nearing the end of its days, so the battery runs out very quickly. And this bad boy is so powerful. So if you are planning on doing a trip like we are doing, definitely get yourself a power bank. We also have our GoPro tripod. It's an extendable one, which makes those shots a little bit cooler, a bit more wide angle. We really like it. And this seems to be the GoPro compartment because we also have the chest strap. Apparently we have 2 chest straps. You'll have to ask Stace about that. And then moving on to the last compartment. This one is my favorite. It has all of my fun gadgets in it. Right now it's emptier than it usually is, and that is because we've got the camera and the gimbal here in use. The gimbal is something that if Stace had her time again, she'd probably push not to bring, but it is one of my favorite things in the world. So that is like a child of mine. But we also have another child of mine, my drone. Stace got me this for my birthday years ago, and it is one of my favorite little devices. It is just a mini, so it's very small and light. And then obviously you've got your controller as well as the battery compartments as well. And then we have the family member that causes all kinds of trouble. We love and hate this lens. We love it when it works. It's our Tamron 11 to 20 millimeter. I think we just got a dodgy one because when it works, it is so good. And fingers crossed, we have a replacement on the way. Please work, because this one has let us down. And then we have our little GoPro in this makeshift sleeve. It is a GoPro Hero 10, perfect for whenever we are in aquatic environments. And then we have this little sleeve with my extra film for my film camera. And then we have a phone attachment for the chest strap. And then lastly, in this little top compartment, we have bits and pieces. that Stace has separated into little Ziploc bags. Usually this is the one that we would bring out. It has some spare batteries and will generally have at least 1 or 2 spare SD cards for when we're out on the go. And then it also has separate attachments that we occasionally put on the camera. For example, right now the camera is on the gimbal, so it has its gimbal attachment. Whereas when we're out and about attaching the camera to our backpack, we use this attachment. We bought I think it's called a Peak Design clip that clips onto the backpack strap, and the camera slides into that. That is something that I would 100% recommend you get if you're wanting to do what we're doing. It allows you to have the camera at such easy access without actually having to hold it in your hands the whole day. Highly recommend that one. And then we have a GoPro Ziploc and a drone Ziploc, a waterproof GoPro pole. And then we have this little squeegee camera dust cleaner. Again, probably should use more than we do, as well as our SD card holder. And then lastly, in this backpack, we have our 2 little drink bottles. My recommendation would be to bring a bigger drink bottle, especially if you're coming to Europe in summer. These, I measured it out, and these actually only hold like a kind of large mug type volume. We picked the small ones because we didn't want anything too heavy, but if I were to replace them, I would definitely bring a bigger one. I think the heaviness is worth it to carry that extra volume of water.
And now our suitcases. So these are Antler brand. We both have the exact same suitcase, just different colours. Bought them brand new before we left. These are really good. They're within pretty much every airline regulation. That was something we made sure we checked. And if you are bringing suitcases, definitely look that up. They are extendable if we want to extend them out. Very sturdy. These have been through the wars already on some very long, rocky walks to our accommodation, and they've held up really well, so we really like these. They do have a TSA lock as well, which is good. Now, something worth touching on is the suitcase versus backpack debate. Some people are very passionate one way or another. We opted for suitcases just because we didn't particularly want to be carrying everything on our backs, which we are very glad we made that decision. These have been fine. I mean, we've had to carry them up plenty of stairs and things like that, but the positive of only having a small suitcase is that they're not that heavy, so carrying them upstairs is actually not that big of a deal. We personally would recommend suitcases, but obviously some people would bring one backpack, put it under the seat and have no troubles, so it's just us. And now let's get inside. Now, like I mentioned with the backpacks, we pretty much pack these the same way every single time. We've kind of got it down pat. We will sometimes pack a bit differently depending on if we're going on a plane versus a train or a bus. Obviously with a plane, we're a bit more weight conscious and space conscious, so we try not to extend them out if we're going on a plane, and we might pull out some of our heavier stuff and wear some of our heavier stuff, like a pair of pants, jumper, and things like that. If we're going on a train or a bus, we dress how we want to dress, shove everything in here, extend it out if we need to. But pretty much we have very good ways of packing these so that everything fits in with the suitcase not extended. Let's jump into it. First up is our laundry bag. It's had a bit of a tough time recently, but we use this for when we do our washing. We'll put our undies and socks in here so they don't get lost. And we also tend to put our dirty laundry in here as we are on the go. Pretty much just, again, our socks and undies. This has been super handy. Again, folds up so small, super light. Shoes. I could go on for hours talking about these sandals. I had really bad foot pain for about 8 months before coming on this trip. About 2 weeks before we left, I googled comfiest shoes. I was gonna buy runners. Sandals came up and I thought, you know what, I'll give them a go. These have like literally changed my life, not to be too dramatic, but I get no foot pain in these at all. They're so incredibly comfortable, so durable. I've worn them on really long walks. I've done hundreds of kilometers in these and they've still held up. They're good as well for water sports and things like that. But these Tevas, highly recommend as a great durable multi-use sandal. Next up, just our travel towel. These are very small and I hate it so much, but you've got to carry one. We have stayed in only a couple places, fortunately, that have not given us towels for free, so we've had to use these. I hate travel towels, full stop. It's not just this one, I've used other ones. I just find they don't dry me, but it has proven useful, and when we've gone to the beach and things like that, we've brought our travel towels with us. Don't judge. My Superman boxes. I've had these for I don't even know how many years, but these were a bit of a last minute addition. Again, these are super light, like they fold up so small. I literally just shove them in any gap I can. It's good to have pajama shorts to wear so you're not having to wear, you know, clothes to sleep. And these are just so lightweight and pack up so small that they're perfect. Now we have my two main compartments. Now, packing cubes, very controversial. Some people very for them, some people against. I've loved them. They've made packing so easy. I have 3 packing cubes. I have my bottoms, my tops, and then one which is undies, socks, bathers, things like that. They've just made packing super, super easy. So this one is my pants. First up, I packed these shorts, these linen shorts. These are my favourite shorts I packed. Super lightweight, neutral colour, everything goes with them. They're not white, so they don't show heaps of dirt. Love them. I brought 1 pair of athletic shorts, 2nd pair of linen shorts, 1 pair of denim shorts, linen pants, jeans, and cargo pants. Now the denim is a bit controversial. Some people are really against it because it's heavy, doesn't dry quick. For us, we are going to a few places coming up where we'll be in pants the whole time. So for us, it was important to have pants that we wanted to wear. If you were just traveling to hot places, say you're doing Europe for summer and that's it, you could probably get away with 1 pair of pants. Up until Ireland, I'd worn my jeans once and that was it. And I wore my cargo pants on travel days just to lighten my suitcase. So get away with 1 pair of pants. But that's all my bottoms. And then my tops. So I have 1 athletic singlet, 1 long sleeve top, 1 button-up shirt, 3 t-shirts, this t-shirt, 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 and then 4 singlets. So I think that was 10 tops, all fit within this little packing cube. Moving on to the other side of my suitcase. This zip is empty at the moment. This one, I just have a bunch of spare Ziploc bags of different sizes. They have proven super handy for all different reasons. We've put food in them when our containers have been full. We've used them to kind of protect things from water, obviously not waterproof, but just to protect them a little bit. We've used them for storing other things. I highly recommend bringing a couple of these. We generally reuse them unless obviously we've put food in them. They've been great. Now on this side, I have our travel backpack. This, you might be thinking, why do you need another backpack? This is just a bit smaller and more lightweight for our day trips. We bring this out pretty much every day with us. Literally just folds out. And there you go. This is my 3rd packing cube. It's a bit empty at the moment as everything's drying, but undies, socks, bathers. I brought 2 pairs of bathers myself, 9 pairs of undies, 3 regular bras, a sports bra, and a belt. Now, undies I've seen people bring less, I've seen people bring more. Personal preference. I personally like to have a few extra pairs so I don't get stuck when we've not done our washing. Shoes, I brought some sneakers. Again, not everyone will bring sneakers, but as we are heading to some cooler places, I wanted a pair of shoes that I'd want to wear every day, so my sneakers. I also have, which are out of the suitcase as I would be wearing them, just my runners. You can substitute the runners and the sneakers for a kind of combined pair of shoes that are super durable, but these have worked well for us. So rain jacket, something I probably could have lived without up until now. Definitely in our next few spots I might need it a bit more, but probably could have lived without. Rosh actually didn't bring one and she's gotten on fine, but that's my rain jacket. Okay, and last few things in my bag, just some medications, spare earplugs, and our toiletry bag. Now we share one toiletry bag between us. We just don't have a lot of toiletries, so it's easy. Most of our stuff is still upstairs in use, but we just bought this toiletry bag. It has 3 pockets. We've generally used like a first aid type pocket. It's got band-aids, we've got some face masks, things like that. This is like spare hair ties and things like that. And then this is our main pocket. So in terms of toiletries, we've really kept it pretty basic. Rosh has a little bit of makeup in there, but otherwise it's really just soap, a razor, shampoo, conditioner as you saw in our liquids bag, toothbrushes, toothpaste, and that's really about it. Oh, deodorant. And speaking of deodorant, so we usually use a spray-on deodorant, which obviously you can't bring carry-on. We opted for like the wax type stick one rather than like a liquid roll-on. Doesn't count towards our liquids total, which is great, and we just prefer it. We also tried to do something similar with sunscreen. We got a wax sunscreen zinc stick again, so it wouldn't count towards our liquids total. We personally didn't really like that one. We just found it irritated our skin, was quite hard to spread. So once we kind of got through our first round of flights, we just bought regular sunscreen. But there are a few easy ways where you can cut on your liquids if you are a big liquids user. And last two things for me, which are normally out of my suitcase when we're traveling, which is just a jumper. I just brought this knit jumper because I thought it's generally relatively warm. It's pretty small and pretty neutral. Personally, haven't really worn it a whole lot. If I had my time again, I'd probably just bring like a sweatshirt, and then I have a puffer jacket that folds up. I usually clip this on to one of the backpacks on the outside, but yeah, folds up, pretty warm when it's out. Again, haven't really had to use it into Ireland, but handy because it folds up nice and small. So that's it for me. Now over to Rosh.
As they said, I have the exact same suitcase, so let's just see what's inside. First of all, we have my corduroy jacket. Normally when we are traveling, especially on planes, I will be wearing this because it is quite heavy. But that is one of two jackets I brought with me. This is my more fashionable one. And then we have my little bum bag here. We have a hat. We also had an old hat. It was our favourite hat. May she rest in peace. We lost it on a travel day where Stace was sick and I was preoccupied. So now we just have this one and a hat that Stace has on her head. We have my little travel towel, and then we have my little puffer jacket. It's not as warm as Stace's, but it's a nice little one that packs up quite small. I have a pair of runners. I opted to bring a white pair so that I could kind of use them as sneakers as well. We have my packing cube with my undies and bras and bathers. As you can see, we had a zip accident. This is a common occurrence across my packing cubes. I don't know how to use zip properly. I brought similar numbers of socks, undies, etc. as Stace did. And then we have my tops cube. In terms of long sleeves, I only brought the one because I knew that I could replace some of the singlets with long sleeves before we head into the colder climates. So this is the one shirt that I brought. And then I brought 3 button-up shirts, 2 funky, 1 plain. And then I brought 4 singlets. 4. Regrettably, I only brought 1 t-shirt. If I had my time again, I would definitely bring more than just one, but the good news is I was able to buy some cheap ones here in Ireland. This is the one that I brought. And now we're on to the second compartment. This is my pants and shorts cube. I have the denim shorts that I'm wearing currently, and then I made the mistake of only bringing white shorts other than my denim ones. Big mistake. You can wash them as often as you can and they will still turn out to be this weird yellowy colour. So new shorts are on the table. I really recommend bringing linen shorts, especially to hotter climates. Don't bring white linen though. They are very discoloured now. And then I also brought a pair of Axe shorts that I wear as pyjamas. Like Stace, I brought a pair of jeans. I definitely don't regret it because they have been pretty much all I've worn here in Ireland on the cooler days. Similarly, I brought a pair of cargo pants. These ones are very thin, so they're not too heavy. And then lastly, another pair of cargo pants. These ones are heavier, and they're generally what I will wear on a travel day on a plane. Next, we have the one pair of sandals I brought, which are my Birkenstocks. And the other pair of shoes that I brought that aren't currently packed because I'm wearing them today are my Nike Air Maxes. I love these shoes. To be honest, I've probably worn them 90% of the time, so I'm in need of a replacement shoe eventually, but for now, I'm going to continue wearing them every day. Well, if I had my time again, I wouldn't let Stace pack the Nintendo Switch. If she had her time again, she probably wouldn't let me pack this. It is my straightener. In my opinion, it's very light, very easy to pack, and I think it's necessary. I probably could have got away without bringing it, but it was the one item that I was pretty easy on myself and allowed myself to bring. And then last few items here, we have our laundry sheets, which we have found very, very useful, and we've both kind of agreed that when we eventually do go home, we're probably going to stick with using these sheets. Obviously they pack up nice and easy. Our laundry smells amazing, and you only need to use half a sheet to 1 sheet for 1 load. Chuck it in the machine and you're ready to go. So highly recommend these ones. We purchased these off the website, Turtle. And then the last thing we have in my tiny little compartment here is some plastic cutlery. Currently missing a fork and a spoon. I don't know where they went. These have been especially handy, especially for when we might buy a microwavable meal. We've got these ready to go, and obviously reusable. And one final thing that is currently in use are these collapsible containers that we purchased off Amazon. We 100% recommend these. They are so handy for snacks or leftovers, particularly when most accommodations that you stay in don't have Tupperware. So if you do have leftovers, you struggle to find storage for it. Whereas these, they fold up nicely, nice and flat when there's nothing in them, and fit really easily into our suitcases. And that is everything I've packed.
And that is everything we packed in our carry-on only. We've been on the road for about 3 months so far, and it's done us pretty good. We've been pretty happy with what we packed. There are probably 2 things that we would have packed if we had our time again. Firstly, as we mentioned earlier, a second laptop. Obviously, if you're not doing YouTube or things like that, you might not need 2 laptops, but for us it would be very helpful. The second thing would be a portable clothesline. Mostly use clothes dryers, but sometimes our laundry has still come out wet, so that would have been super handy as well. Now, we'd be very interested to hear how you think we did. Leave a comment below letting us know, and any tips or tricks you might have for travelling carry-on only. And our one final tip would be, don't feel you're stuck with what you pack on day 1, on day 30, day 90, day 120. It's very flexible. We have been in Ireland for about 2.5 weeks, and we've purchased a few bits of warmer clothes, which we'll be swapping out some of our summer clothes with. And we're also about to meet my mum, who's bringing a few bits and pieces for us, so we'll be sending some stuff home with her. You can be flexible. Obviously, you've got the small space, but you can swap things out as you go.
As they said, we're almost 3 months in for our full year of travel around the world. So make sure you subscribe if you haven't already, because there are plenty more videos to come, and we would love for you to join us.
So that's it for today's video. Like it if you enjoyed it so other people can find it. As Rosh said, subscribe if you haven't already. We've got plenty more adventures to come. And on that note, we'll see you in our next adventure.
Bye!
Bye.